What's going on, everyone, and welcome, my fellow warriors. We have all gathered here today to pass judgment on this handsome, perfect, marvelous warrior, Mr. Zhao Yun. So the legendary dragon himself steps up. I just want to have a small discussion about whether or not this character is overrated. I would say half and half people agree that he's overrated, and half people think that he's just fine the way he is. So, boiling it down, looking at the dragon himself, let's talk about, is Zhao Yun, the legendary warrior, overrated? Let's discuss. So starting off, I think the main argument for him being overrated is because he took over, I would say, for the poster boy and the main hero protagonist of the series, even though he doesn't really have the content to back it up. From what I've seen, and most of the things that I've read about, because I searched, is Zhao Yun overrated, old Reddit feeds or forums or things of that nature. And, some people seem to agree about the fact that it's because of that, and because with him being so pushed, he doesn't have maybe the flashiest of movesets or anything like that, even though he gets some of the best, cutscenes and moments, I would say, within the games. But it seems like for the most part, everyone is like, oh, Zhao Yun sucks because he's the poster boy. He's like the most popular one. And people seem to despise that as well. It's like, because he's the poster boy, he has quite the popularity. And because of that, the people that claim him to be overrated attribute it to that as well. Like, he's too popular, which makes him overrated, I guess. I'm sure there's a quote out there somewhere that would describe the situation that Zhao Yun's in, but it's like the more popular they get, the more haters you get, or the more criticisms you receive, or something like that. Like, the more people love something, the harder it is for that thing to not be hated. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you know what I mean, right? Zhao Yun's so popular, he's in our faces all the time. He's the face, he's supposed to represent Dynasty Warriors. And because of that, people are going to scrutinize everything about the character, especially when they feel like he's in our face too much. But then again, I don't know. I think they balance it out pretty well, because the character, he doesn't have as much content as you would think for the poster boy. I mean, the main characters I would say for Dynasty Warriors is like Cao Cao, Liu Bei, even like Sima Zhao, someone like Sima Zhao, Sima Yi. Those characters have much more, Sun Quan, right? Have much more content and fill a large portion of the stories for each of their factions than Zhao Yun does. And it's just because they're the leaders, they are integral to the storytelling part of the series, and everybody kind of revolves around the leaders, that it leaves other characters kind of out to dry unless the games, individually focus on them, like in Dynasty Warriors 5. But it seems like people are just, I don't know, tired of having him being the poster boy. I think I can kind of understand that he might be overrated because he's on the cover or in the openings a lot, and he's constantly pushed as the main guy of the series when maybe he doesn't have that feel in the games. I mean, it's always cool to watch his cutscenes. I always like, especially when he was, voice acted correctly. So even Dynasty Warriors 9, the cutscenes looked really good for him. Gameplay was, it wasn't too bad. But in the older games with his old voice actor, he was always fun to watch. He had that aura about him. He had something that was very intriguing to watch, and I don't know. Maybe he was a little bland for most people, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So for me personally, I think he's a great character. He's one of my favorites, and he will always remain one of my favorites because he's, he introduced me to the series, really. He really connected me with the series, and just the things that he's done is just really cool to watch. And when you play him, you get a feeling, a little bit of that. So he doesn't have some of the best movesets, like his C6 in some of the early games was atrocious, but besides the point, Zhao Yun is super fun to play with, super comforting, and he looks great, and I love the relationships that he has. He doesn't really have any negative traits about him that are inherent to the character. It's just because he's too awesome that people don't like him. But in terms of being like a bad person or doing bad things, he's not really known for that. He doesn't have, I don't even think I can think of a story really where he's like been quote unquote like evil or done something that's really controversial. The only thing he's really done is shown us that beautiful face of his time and time again. But is it really that bad? Is it really worth having such a hatred towards this character because he's in our face too much? If he is on the cover of the next game, that's cool. I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume that who's on the cover is going to be a secondary or even a tertiary type of thought for the fans when we're trying to jump in and see if they fix the mistakes from Dynasty Warriors 9. Is it more intriguing? Do the voice actors get better? Is the gameplay better? Right? I'm not gonna be really worried about the cover. It's gonna be nice to see and stuff like that, get us hyped up. But as soon as the game is available to play, everybody's jumping in to see if this game is good. That is it, right? So the argument for him being on the cover and being too basic or whatever it is that people think, that's totally fine. Everybody has their opinions and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, I just think Zhao Yun is a great representation of this. I mean, the reason that I think he is the cover is because of the way it's displayed in the novel and the game, just because of the Changban thing. I mean, that's an amazing feat. That's insane. Of course, it's exaggerated, but that's why we play the games, because it's, you know, the 1 versus 1,000 feel, and you're slicing through people, running through people, and you have your, you know, your fun moments of having that moment playing with the character. And, you know, Zhao Yun, for me, has always been great. He looks great. He's had a decent enough moveset for me to play. Some of his Muso attacks in the later games, yeah, they're very simple. You know, it ain't gonna be much, but he's just an iconic character. I just can't not like him. He's just amazing, and honestly, I hope they develop him more. I hope they give him more content in Dynasty Warriors 10. I hope it's, you know, maybe there's a storyline of just, you know, focusing on him, just like in Dynasty Warriors 5, because I love him. I think he's amazing, and at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their opinions. And again, going back to that, I don't know what it is. I'm sure there's a quote, again, out there where it's, the more you rise, the more people are going to be like, you shouldn't have risen, you know, whatever it may be. I think, in a sense, Zhao Yun is not so much overrated as he is overhated. You know, I think he's got, you know, too much of a dislike for him when, you know, a game is built to get us excited about the game. And I think Zhao Yun gets you, I mean, that's what the openings are for. Gets you excited, gets you hype, and, you know, Zhao Yun's great at doing that. He's great at filling that role and getting us hyped for the games. And I'm sure other characters can do that if they decide to. They've done other really cool intros with other characters, but I don't mind it. I think Zhao Yun's an amazing character. I think he fits well into the series, and he, at least right now, balances out. He's on the cover, but he doesn't have a lot of, he does not have that much content. The most content he had was in Dynasty Warriors 5 and 6, and that's because he had individual stories. Even in Dynasty Warriors 9, I would say it wasn't very, I mean, it just kind of blended in because every event was the same. You know, it wasn't like there was an individual event just for specific characters. It was like everybody kind of experienced the same thing. So the character even doesn't really have that much spotlight in the game, so I think it right now balances out. But again, I wouldn't be opposed to it if they brought some more in it. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just kind of going off with the dome, just wanted to talk about it, maybe do some other characters who maybe are overrated or underrated, or, you know, and just individually talk about them a little bit. What do you guys think about Zhao Yun? Totally fine if you disagree and think he's completely overrated, you don't like him. I love hearing, you know, the different opinions and stuff like that. There's always ways to make the game better. You're not gonna make everybody happy, but you can get pretty close to it. I think you can get pretty close to it if you do it right. And hopefully one day maybe I'll have a hand in that, you know what I mean? But that's all I have for the video, guys. Just a short, sweet video of Mr. Poster Boy himself. I mean, he does what he does, and I think he does it well. So I can go into who he is and how he does and all that other stuff, but I've already done that. It's just a little small topic. I just wanted to jump in real quick and talk about the beautiful man himself. Anyways, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, definitely appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.